This is WPSU, where the news is great and will make you listen more. Now over to Izzy and Lauren, our anchors.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Today we have so many great stories for you. Izzy with a story on endangered pandas. Also, we have Ewan with a story on how Minecraft should be used in all schools across the nation. Peyton has a story on how people are soaring Tennessee walking horses.
Hi, I'm Izzy. We have many more stories, including Lauren with a biography on Hope Solo, Michael with tornadoes that hit Missouri, finally Brandon with the story on the history of lacrosse.
Well, let's get to it. Now over to Peyton with a story on how it's wrong that people are soaring Tennessee walking horses.
Thanks, Lauren. Did you know that a breed of horse called the Tennessee walking horse are living through something called soaring? Well, they are. And as you can see, they look fine. But this is painful. It's like walking around in high heels all day, every day. Instead of wearing regular horseshoes, the horse wears shoes made up of many pads. Now you're probably wondering, how are Tennessee walking horses soared? Well, the trainer takes painful chemicals and applies them to the horse's legs. Then they wrap them with leg wraps and plastic to cook the chemicals into the horse's leg. To some people, they might look like regular polo wraps, which some horses will wear. Also, when the horse is shown, they're usually found with chains around their ankles. When the horse starts trotting, the chain moves up and down, further irritating the spots already sored, causing the big lick. Soaring could also involve standing a horse for hours with a block under hoof poking the horse's sensitive parts. This means that when the horse puts down their hoof, the block attached to their hoof digs into the part already dug into by the block they were standing on. Also, when their horseshoes with pads are put on them, the nails that attach them almost touch their bone. I can't imagine what that feels like. That means the horses will react to anybody touching their hooves. So trainers have been training them to stand by touching their hoof, and if the horse moves, the trainer whips their horse. Now that you've been informed on what happens during a show, you're probably feeling really bad for these horses and that soaring will never be detected. Well, guess what? Soaring has been outlawed by Congress. In the early 1970s, Congress passed the HPA, Horse Protection Act, with the intent of banning this cruel practice. The USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, tries to send agency officials to every Tennessee walking horse show. As a result, they have instituted a system that allows HIO, Horse Industry Organization, to train and license their own inspectors known as DQPs, Designated Qualified Persons, to examine horses at shows for any signs of soaring. And all of this is mostly done for money. Also, horses born after October 1st, 1975 are also subject to what is known as the SCAR rule. Their legs should show no sign of scarring. This may include missing hair, scars, or cuts. While inspectors have jurisdiction to inspect horses anywhere on the grounds of a show, exhibition, auction, or sale, as well as transportation to these events, intimidation, harassment, and threats from industry participants have kept inspectors from examining horses outside of a designated inspection area. These participants are basically disobeying the SCAR rule. Please help stop soaring. You can do this by donating to the Humane Society, informing stablemates, family, social media, and report abuse. Back to you, Izzy.
Passing that law was a great idea.
I agree. I bet most horses after 1975 would have scars or missing hair and cuts if that law wasn't passed.
Now Ewan with a piece on how Minecraft should be used in all schools across the nation.
Minecraft. Thanks, Izzy. Did you know today's hottest video game was developed in 2009? According to Forbes magazine, Minecraft with Marcus Notch person developed Minecraft as a hobby. In 2000 was first the PC edition. First PC edition in 2000. And then in 2015, the Windows edition was created. It was one of the best-selling PC games of all times, and 100 million players are playing this game, and 238 countries are also playing the game. But after a couple of years, Notch sold the game to Microsoft. In 2011, Microsoft made Minecraft EDU. Minecraft EDU is the educational Minecraft for students and teachers all alike. And Minecraft EDU helps students in math, history, and reading. And those are three important things to learn. One thing Minecraft EDU helps is building the education for you, then you building the education. And Minecraft in classrooms gives students the freedom to create their imagination, to castles, to roller coasters, to even machines that might not exist on Earth. That is the reason you can build your imagination. Also, the blocks in Minecraft can be used for math by measuring the blocks, then real blocks, and see if they're the same size or close. Now you know Minecraft can be both an educational and a fun game. I'm Ewan and I'm signing out. Back to you, Lauren.
I didn't know it improves creativity while learning coding strategies.
That's a win-win, having fun while learning.
Now onto the history of lacrosse with Brandon.
Thanks, Lauren. Lacrosse, a wonderful sport. It started in the early 1600s. The Native Americans were the ones to start the sport. They played lacrosse with a wooden stick with leather webbing so they could catch the ball. They made the ball of wood and in later years wrapped it in leather. Today, the balls are made of hard rubber. The players are hurt when hit by the hard rubber ball, but probably not as much as it hurt back then. I say this because they did not have pads like we do today, and also their ball was made of wood and wrapped in leather. It was originally created by the Algonquin tribe. This tribe started the sport in the 1600s. Then over the years, it spread to other tribes. The sport was also originally called stickball. That also changed over the years. The amount of people in each game was random. There could be anywhere from 100 to 1,000 players in each game. That's crazy! How do you even keep track of where the ball is? I mean, today, there are only 12 people on the field at a time. Concluding, lacrosse is a wonderful sport, and I think everyone should try it. Back to you, Izzy.
How do you go from 1,000 players to only 12?
I know, right? A lot has changed from way back then to present day.
Next, Michael with a report on tornadoes.
Thanks, Izzy. The date was Sunday, May 22nd, 2011. The storm killed 158 people and 1,000 more were hurt. That day in Joplin, Missouri, no one knew that there was going to be a deadly tornado coming that day. The tornado was 200 miles wide when it struck. Also, since only 20% of supercells produce tornadoes, tornadoes can either fizzle out or cause destruction. Once a tornado is formed by a supercell, it cannot be detected by the strongest radar. Tornadoes like this one will destroy everything in their path. Storm chasers help provide tornado and storm warnings to Kansas and Missouri. Most people just ignored the alarms since they warned them so often and there was no tornado. At 5:11 p.m., the sirens rang. Most people thought that it was just a false alarm. A storm chaser called 911 to alert everyone in this area so they would be safe. At 5:31, the siren sounded again. The people knew it wasn't fake because the sirens never sounded twice in that short period of time. Most people in Joplin, Missouri understood that it was not a false alarm this time. People at home had to hide in their basements just so they could stay safe. After the tornado, most people turned their trucks into ambulances to help most of the injured. Jeff Perchowski, a storm watcher, said, "I knew we had witnessed one of the deadliest tornadoes in modern times." Back to you, Lauren.
2,000 miles, 158 killed, and 1,000 hurt. I'm speechless.
I'm lucky that we never get tornadoes in New Hampshire. Now here's Lauren with a biography on Hope Solo.
Thanks, Izzy. Growing up in the Smiley Face house in Richland, Washington, Hope Solo endured many difficulties growing up, which made her the starting goalkeeper on the United States women's national team. When Hope was growing up, her neighbors forced her family to put a fence around all the junk in their yard. So Hope and her family painted a smiley face on the fence. When people walked by, happiness would spread through them. Hope's dad began teaching her soccer when she was 5. 1 year later, Mr. Solo completely abandoned the family. At 12, her dad made her very happy when he came to watch one of her games. After the game, he showed her where he lived, under a tarp in the woods. He was homeless. Throughout Hope's soccer life growing up, her family never had enough money to pay for her. The whole community knew that Hope needed help, so they put on bake sales, had fundraisers, and much more. Hope has always been grateful for them. As she started playing for teams, she preferred being a field player, never wanting to play in net. When she made a club team, the coach placed her in net. It was difficult at first, but she got the hang of it. Instead of scoring so many goals, she was saving them. But through high school in 1996 to 1999, Hope was a forward for Richland Bombers. Starting with the Philadelphia Charge in 2003, Hope's solo has gone on to many World Cups, including the amazing 2015 World Cup, where United States women's national team won. Also, Solo is a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. In 2011 and 2015, Hope has won the Golden Glove Award. It is amazing that Hope has more caps, wins, shutouts, and starts in all of U.S. soccer history. Hope has worked hard for all these achievements and deserves them. Therefore, Hope has had so many ups and downs, but has always got over them through soccer. She is a one-of-a-kind, unique person, showing hard work and perseverance. Hope is a great role model. Well, that's all for today. Back to you, Izzy.
Listening to that report made me realize how it's important to believe anything is possible if you believe.
I know. I think her early life made her mentally stronger. Finally, here's Izzy with a story on endangered pandas.
Thanks, Lauren. Project for the Fur, Habitat Destruction, and captive breeding programs have put the giant pandas in serious danger. Living in the forests of China before they were endangered, but now only a few pandas are found in the forests of China. The giant panda's population is decreasing due to hunters killing them for their dense fur. Also, according to research books, pandas are getting captured illegally for zoos. Scientists have been trying to save the rest of the pandas. They are achieving more than they can ever do because of all the help. The giant panda is also endangered because hunters are cutting bamboo down, and first, the hunters are cutting bamboo down, and it takes a lot of years for bamboo to grow back. And they eat about 83 pounds every day. Also, bamboo is the only food pandas eat because they are vegetarians. That is a few of the reasons why pandas are endangered. Also, pandas' dense fur carries a high price in illegal marks in the Far East. The hunters just want the giant panda's fur for a coat. According to National Geographic, there are about 1,000 pandas left in the world. Do whatever you can to help the giant pandas. With your help, we can rise the numbers of pandas. That's all for today. Back to you, Lauren.
Why do you need a panda for a coat when there's many other options?
I agree. Well, that's all for today. I'm Izzy.
I'm Lauren,
And this is WPSU.
This is WLNH reporting from the Access Center.
Hi, we're Austin and Alicia, and we're the anchors of WLNH.
Our news team partners are Drew, Ryan, Kenny, Olivia, and Kyle.
Drew, bio of Tom Brady. Ryan, Hurricane Sandy. Kenny, history of the Patriots. And Alicia, slowing down global warming.
Olivia, polar bear extinction. Kyle, Flint, Michigan. Austin, why is Wi-Fi still slow and ways to fix it?
Now we're going to throw a perfect pass over to Drew, who is first with the life of Tom Brady.
Thanks, Austin. Tom Brady, someone worth talking about. Tom has been in the NFL for 14 years. He's been in the NFL for 13 full years, starting as a quarterback. At 38 years old, Tom and his wife Giselle had 3 kids: John, Edmund, Thomas, Moynihan, Benjamin, and Vivian Lake Brady. We all know he has won 4 Super Bowls, but you may not know about his high school and college career. Tom went to Sierra High School and played football and baseball there. He was a catcher in baseball and a quarterback in football. He got the starting job at QB in his junior year. After high school, he was drafted by the Montreal Expos, now known as the Washington Nationals. Tom turned down that offer and went to the University of Michigan. When he was at Michigan, he was a bench warmer for 2 years before getting the starting job. He got 200 completions of 323 attempts with 2,427 yards with a pass rating of 138.1%. In his senior year, He had 295 passing attempts for 180 completions and 2,217 yards and a pass rating of 138. That year, the Wolverines won the Orange Bowl. In the 2000 NFL Draft, he was picked 199 in the 6th round by the New England Patriots. After starting quarterback Drew Bledsoe's injury, Tom got the opportunity to start. They lost that game against the New York Jets and finished the season with a 5-12 record. However, the next season they finished with a record of 11-5 to win the Super Bowl. Tom got the MVP award in that season. His stats were 413 attempts with 264 completions and 2,843 yards. With Tom leading the offense, the Patriots won back-to-back Super Bowls in 04 and 05, with Tom winning the MVP award in 04. In the 2014 season, the Patriots came out on top by winning the Super Bowl. Tom was the MVP that game too. His stats were awesome, with 582 attempts with 373 completions and 4,109 yards. Being a huge Patriots fan, I hope that Tom wins many more Super Bowls. Throwing it back to you, Austin.
Tom Brady is definitely my favorite football celebrity. Let's twirl it over to Ryan with Hurricane Sandy.
Thank you, Austin. Hurricane Sandy, one of the most dangerous hurricanes in U.S. history. The frightening storm killed up to 233 people along the United States East Coast. Canada and the Caribbean injured many more. It caused more than $75 billion in damages. In October 2012, Hurricane Sandy developed from a tropical wave in the Caribbean and evolved to a Class 3 tropical cyclone. The wind gusts were reported at up to 100 miles per hour, causing over 8.5 million people to lose power. It also destroyed more than 100 homes and canceled more than 12,000 flights. Still, this Frankenstein was only the second largest tropical cyclone on record. If you lived at the beach, you would have witnessed the famous Atlantic City boardwalk being ripped apart and fires bursting up everywhere. According to the forecast from IHS Global Insight, Sandy was the costliest natural disasters on record in the United States. Hopefully we never experience a hurricane like that again. Back to you, Austin.
Hurricane Sandy was probably the most frightful hurricane I've ever been through.
Let's rush it over to Kenny.
Thanks, Alicia. Have you ever wondered about the history of the New England Patriots? It's very interesting to me. Professional football arrived in New England on November 16, 1959. Ron Byrne was the first draft choice. He was a running back. In 1991, John Hanna was the first Patriots player to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That year, the Patriots created Team Hall of Fame for honoring the past players. Since Hanna's induction, 18 other players and one contributor were added to the Hall of Fame. The Patriots team name was selected by Boston sports writers. The Patriots play in a stadium in Foxborough. In 2001, with a new coach, Bill Belichick, they won the Super Bowl. The new quarterback, Tom Brady, also was a new person who led them to win the Super Bowl. The 2004 Patriots made history, becoming just the second team in NFL history to win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Tom Brady has 4 Super Bowl rings. He has led the Patriots to 6 Super Bowls. In the 2015 and 16 season, the Patriots did well with a season of 12 wins and 4 losses, finally losing in the playoffs. They won all of their Super Bowls with Tom Brady. They are certainly an exciting team to watch. Back to you, Alicia.
That was an interesting topic. Now I know more about the history of the Patriots.
Let's flick it over to Alicia on slowing down global warming.
Thanks, Austin. Global warming, something that we need to slow down and take action. There are many problems that we need to solve, but one of them is global warming. If we don't help slow down global warming, who knows what'll happen. Some of the things we need to do in order to slow global warming down is be green, don't be wasteful, and recycle. Just these 3 steps will help slow down global warming. According to author Lauren Leedy, who has done extensive research and wrote The Shocking Truth About Energy, all the extra carbon dioxide in the air traps more of the sun's heat, which raises Earth's temperature, thus making global warming faster. Also, according to NASA, the average temperature of the world has increased by 1.4 degrees in just a century. That's a major concern. Global warming is a really big issue. In fact, it's such a big issue that altogether, countries are spending $20 million just researching how to completely stop this havoc. By 2040, there'll be an ice-free summer in the Arctic, and in 1910, the Glacier National Park in Montana had 150 glaciers, and now there are literally only 23 left. At this rate, coastal areas such as Boston and all the way down to Miami could flood. The eastern seaboard could be underwater. You might say, why should I be concerned about global warming? It won't affect me at all, but actually it will. You will be alive to see those changes, but if we as a community help participate in being more green, we can make a huge difference. According to Swedish scientist Svante Arrhenius, who predicted this reality in the 1800s, the Earth will become 1.4 degrees more warmer in the next few hundred years. If that happens, like I said, coastal areas will flood, many glaciers will melt, and so many people might die. Let's solve this big issue and become more green. Thanks for listening. This is Alicia. Now back to you, Austin.
Wow, I never knew that global warming was that big of a concern.
Now we're going to wander it over to Olivia with polar bear extinction.
Thanks, Alicia. You may have heard that rare animals are going into extinction, but guess what? The well-known polar bear is also going into extinction, and it's happening in ways you never thought twice about. It all starts with you. According to WWF, the polar bear has recently been classified as vulnerable since the polar bear is decreasing at a fast pace. There is close to 20,000 to 25,000 polar bears at the moment. Many organizations, such as WWF and the Center for Biological Diversity, are going to extreme lengths to stop this havoc. According to the U.S. Department of the Interior Secretary Dirk Kempthorne, the polar bear will be wiped out in 2050 if we don't stop now. According to WWF, climate changes are affecting the polar bear because there are now fewer opportunities to feed, and there now are fewer cubs due to the lack of food. The climate changes have melted a huge proportion of their sea ice habitat. Due to greenhouse gas, oil explorations led by us, humans, can poison the polar bear from the oil. If their fur comes into contact with the oil, it can reduce insulation, causing them to use more energy to keep warm. It can also poison them if they eat contaminated prey, causing liver and kidney problems and also long-term toxicity. Overhunting can also decrease polar bear population. There are many ways you can help save the polar bear. You can pick up trash in your community and make sure you recycle. You can also spread the word and tell others to stop these horrific climate changes and stop animal overhunting. You can make a petition in which you have family, friends, and neighbors sign. Make sure you don't wear some fashionable polar bear fleeces. Send it back and say polar bear hunting is uncanny. You can donate to foundations such as WWF to help them stop this polar bear barrage. I hope you understand now why we need to save the polar bear. We learned about the awful things that have happened to them, the cause of these tragedies, and how to prevent them. The polar bear is a great creature that has been around for centuries. They provide for us, so we should provide to them. I'm Olivia. Thanks for listening. Now, back to you, Alicia.
Wow, I never knew that would ever happen to polar bears.
Let's send it over to Kyle, Flint, Michigan.
Thanks, Austin. Have you heard about Flint, Michigan changing your water source? Well, I have some information on that. It all started in 2011 when Flint changed their water source to a local river, instead of staying with the good water from Lake Huron. The mayor, Rick Snyder, put his city in danger to save money. First, the water started to change color and change to a mysterious smell, too. Second, young and old residents are getting ill. Lastly, Flint, Michigan's mayor said the water was fine and there was nothing to worry about. The water started to change color and smell really bad. Residents complained the water was blue, tinted green, beige, brown, and yellow. Residents also stated that the water was started to smell like a fish market and gasoline. This all happened because Flint, Michigan's mayor changed their water source, according to Josh Sanborn from Time magazine. Can you imagine smelling that every day you went to go drink water? Second, Melissa Mays said to Time that she got so sick from the water, her hair started to fall out. Residents also complained that the water about other symptoms like burning of skin, hand tremor, hair loss, and even seizures. Some of Flint's people also broke out in rashes or developed lung infections that had people coughing up phlegm that tasted like cleaning products. A public health emergency declared, telling residents not to drink or cook with the poisoned water. 10 out of the 87 severely ill people died. Can you believe that? President Obama designated $5 million in aid to help with the water supply. A spokesman for the state told Flint, Michigan, if you're worried about the water, you should relax. Flint, Michigan's mayor gulped down a glass of the horrible water on live TV to prove that was fine. Flint, Michigan's mayor had admitted on national TV that he was wrong, and I will do my best to fix this problem. Flint, Michigan is still working to correct this horrible health problem. Back to you, Austin.
That is so sad how so many people died because of river pollution and money.
Let's speed it over to Austin with Wi-Fi and ways to fix it.
Thanks, Alicia. Hi, I'm here to inform you about why your Wi-Fi might not be working. First of all, make sure your Wi-Fi is actually turned on. It could be your microwave oven. Maybe you're too far from your access point. It could also be your ISP, Internet Service Provider. You could just be paying for a bad speed. I can't say exactly what the problem is, but I can say it's not the Wi-Fi adapter. There are so many possible reasons, but I'm just going to focus on these reasons. Let's start with the Wi-Fi you're paying for. To find out what speed you're paying for, you could look at your most recent bill and check the price and check the speed. Then you should take the speed test. You should take the speed test at speedtest.net, most preferable. Just make sure you're not downloading anything while taking the speed test. It would be smart to pause all services. You will see 3 different groups of numbers: ping, download speed, and upload speed. Now let's go to your microwave oven. Many Wi-Fi connections run at the same frequency as your microwave oven, so try to make sure your microwave oven is off. So it may not help, just give it a try, because I have more ways to fix it. Another reason your Wi-Fi might not be working is your access points. It won't work as well if you're far from your access points, where if you were closer, it should work better. Still may not work, but hey, who knows what the problem is until it's fixed. Could be your ISP. They might be busy and getting confused. Maybe they're pulling a trick on you. You never know what they're doing. The best thing to do is just give them a call. So there you go. Might not work, but that's all I can do. Hope it was just your microwave oven. Also hope your problem's fixed. Thank you for your time. Back to you, Alicia.
Wow, making Wi-Fi faster? That sounds hard, but now I'll try it.
Well, that's all.
This is WLNH News.
Thanks for listening.
This is WXYZ reporting to you live. This is WXYZ News. I'm Sky and this is Ika and we're your anchors.
First presenting Nick with the history of the Carolina Panthers.
Bailey with the biography of Bernie Sanders.
Sky informing you about fashion.
Lucas reporting on Snowstorm Jonas.
Joey reporting on animal abuse.
Ika reporting on the Mozart effect.
And Alyssa on the history of gymnastics.
These stories all sound amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear them all. Now on to Nick with the history of the Carolina Panthers.
Thanks, Ika. Knowing there needed to be a Carolina team, Jerry Richardson, a former NFL player and an American businessman, placed a bid for a franchise on December 15, 1987. My favorite team, the Carolina Panthers, were named the 29th NFL franchise on October 26, 1993. As the thought of owning a franchise grew in Richardson's mind, an opportunity arose. In the spring of '92, the NFL was open to having new teams. Only 5 cities were being considered: Baltimore, St. Louis, Memphis, Jacksonville, and of course the Carolinas. Established on a breezy October 26, 1993, the Carolina Panthers became the 29th NFL franchise. When Richardson was one step away from owning a franchise, a problem started to sprout. Later in the year, the NFL decided to delay the expansion vote until fall 1993 due to a labor dispute between the league and the players. This made Richardson furious, but he stood by the Panthers' motto, "Keep pounding." This saying is more than a motto to the team. It's their way of life. A year later, the race finally resumed. Richardson was happy, excited, and nervous. What if it didn't work? What if the Carolina Panthers didn't become a team? He didn't let that faze him. He was confident. He knew it was meant to be. It turned out he had nothing to be afraid of. As of now, the Panthers are a fast-growing team. Housed at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, this football stadium can hold 75,412 people, which is a lot. They are becoming bigger and bigger as the years go by. This season, the group of All-Stars made headlines with their 15-1 record. They are now led by star quarterback Cam Newton and by linebackers Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. I know you all think Cam Newton has a hot head, but you haven't seen the end of him. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to watch the Carolina Panthers become one of the greatest NFL franchises of all time. Back to you, Sky.
Thanks, Nick.
Wow, what an interesting franchise.
Jerry Richardson was very persistent, but it still took them a while to become an NFL franchise.
Now on to Bailey presenting a biography of Bernie Sanders.
Thanks, Ika. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders is running for President of the United States of America. Bernie won the New Hampshire primary with a percentage of 62% of the Democratic vote. Senator Sanders, known as a Democratic Socialist, is known to be outspoken on all issues. Best known for his 2010 8-hour-long filibuster against the extension of Bush-era tax cuts for the wealthy. Senator Sanders has always championed the working of families of America. His primary initiatives are equality, health care, and more affordable higher education. At the time of this broadcast, the leading Republican candidates are Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, with Hillary Clinton and Senator Sanders leading the Democrats. Now just a few FYIs about Senator Sanders. If he wins, the senator from Vermont will be the oldest seated president. He will also be the first Jewish president. And looking at him now, you would never guess it. But when Sanders was in high school, he ran a mile in 4 minutes. Please vote, and when you do, make an informed decision. And America's future and mind will depend on it. Back to you, Eka.
Thank you, Bailey. Wow, I never knew that Bernie Sanders used to run. Me either. Now let's get to the next story with Sky speaking about fashion.
Thanks, Ika. Fashion. I've always wondered about fashion. Have you? The fashion of the early 1900s was very different than the fashion today. Although the center for fashion during that time was in Paris, France, styles influenced the whole world, including the United States. Did you know that there were laws back then that made everyone wear certain clothes depending on how much money they had? Well, I didn't. An English law of the 1600s required men of the lower classes to wear woolen caps made in England. However, this same law permitted men of high position to wear velvet hats from France and Italy. Today, everyone wears pretty much whatever they want as long as they can afford it. If you go to a store to shop for clothes today, you get to pick out whatever you want. So anytime you go to a store and your mom or dad says something about the clothes you want, just to remember, a long time ago nobody got to choose what they wanted to wear, so you're lucky. According to CBCNews.com, Tory Burch makes $3 million a year. Tory Burch designs clothing, swim stuff, shoes, handbags, accessories, and watches. Can you imagine how busy she must be? A lot of people must like her designs if she gets that much money. Back to you, Ika.
Fashion is what I thought to be great princess-like clothes, even though rich men did wear velvet.
I can't believe that everyone had to wear certain clothes based on how much money they had. That's just crazy. Now over to Lucas with Snowstorm Jonas.
Thanks, Sky. What can shut down the government in Washington, D.C., a major winter snowstorm named Jonas? Mother Nature struck again on January 22nd. She decided to dump between 2 to almost 4 feet of snow on the Washington, D.C. northeast and mid-Atlantic states. According to CBS News, the storm damaged homes, businesses, cars for a multi-dollar billion price tag. The snowstorm, there were at least 48 people killed. The harsh winds causing also about 250,000 customers to lose power. Wind speeds at 30 to 50 miles. The storm also included bursts of thunder and lightning. In Dewey Beach in Delaware, also Langley Air Force bases in Virginia, after the bitter cold temperatures, whipping winds, and dangerously wild weather, the mid-Atlantic states are recovering from this deadly snowstorm. Innocent people trapped inside their homes for what seems like an eternity. They are finally, with nearly 9,000 flight cancellations, people were finally able to fly home after the holidays being in the state for emergency. For months, New England snowplows were finally being returned after donating tons of winter snow equipment. The moral of the story is to be prepared no matter the cost. Back to you, Sky.
Snowstorm Jonas sounds like a powerful and huge storm.
Fortunately, they are recovering quickly.
Now on to Joey reporting on animal abuse.
Thanks, Ika. Animal abuse. Why do people have pets if they abuse or neglect them? It is a huge problem in our society. Animal cruelty or abuse can range from neglect to not feeding them, filthy environment, or being left out in the cold weather to deliberate killing of the animal. Hoarding is also a road to future abuse when it becomes too crowded for the animals to live comfortably and safely, either in a house or in a pen. One problem people don't often think about is when they leave a pet inside their car while they are in a store. If the temperature outside is 65 or higher, it is too hot, and if it is 40 or lower, it is too cold and can be dangerous for that animal. Each state has their own laws outlining the humane treatment of animals. Everyone has a responsibility to take care of their own pet and treat it well. We also should be aware of other animal abuse in our neighborhoods and report it to the police. It is our job to take care of our furry friends. Back to you, Sky.
It's a shame that so many people would do this to their furry friends.
It is really a shame.
Now let's bump it to Aiko with the Mozart effect.
Thanks, Sky. This is what we call theory. The Mozart effect has been in question for many years, and when you use or try the Mozart effect, you will show greater learning ability. Using this theory, you will have to listen to a Mozart sonata or anything Mozart wrote for 2 hours, then try to do your homework or any brain power using activities. Well, the Mozart effect will be a great story to listen to as well as its effects. When you play a musical instrument, listen to your favorite song, or even listen to classical music, do you feel refreshed, excited, or even comfortable? I do. Usually, it would be a brain-refreshing activity for me. Yet, a Harvard graduate played the clarinet, saxophone, oboe, and more, had no difference in their IQ. And the debate will go on forever because the research will always start at a theory, and the theory may not be accurate, so the questions will still remain. The Mozart effect is believed to be created in 1998. Though this is a term used for this process is not exactly known as this name. The surprising claim stated that after listening to a Mozart sonata for 2 hours, then doing a brain power using activity after listening to the music. This made a speed difference in the activity. And the news of this theory spread, and people started to try it too, such as schools and preschools. I hope our school can try this theory too. Back to you, Sky.
Thanks, Aika. I find it so cool how listening to music can help you concentrate.
That is what's going to be a hope and a debate. Last, you have Alyssa on the history of gymnastics.
Thanks, Aika. Gymnastics. Where did it begin? It all started 2,000 years ago in ancient Greece. In 460 BC, ancient Greeks saw gymnastics as the perfect symmetry between mind and body. Training took place in a Greek palaestra, a square-walled area that contained baths and changing rooms. The training activities incorporated wrestling, running, jumping, weightlifting, and throwing. When the Romans conquered Greece in 146 BC, they altered the training for their soldiers. As they conquered more European countries, gymnastics spread throughout Europe as military training. At that point, true gymnastics was all but lost. Modern events were developed by Frederick Ludwig Jean in 1816. At that time, he invented the uneven bars, vaulting horse, and floor exercise. Gymnastics traveled to the United States in 1862 and was introduced to the Olympics in 1869. It's been here ever since. From wars to palestras to today's Olympics. That's gymnastics. Back to you, Sky.
Thanks, Alyssa. I never knew that gymnastics has a background this historical.
And they lasted through war, so nothing should stop gymnastics.
Well, that's all we have for today.
Bye.